What's up and welcome back to the channel. The name is Ninja Knight. Make sure you like, share, subscribe and hit the notification bell up above for future uploads, and make sure you check out the links posted down below. Thank you. So here I have an image from Hasbro Pulse, and they are posting today a pre-order for Transformers Takara Tomy Masterpiece MP52 Plus Thundercracker. So they're saying that the pre-order item will be available to ship on approximately 2021 09 25th, or to the rest of the world the 25th of September. So here we have an MP52 Plus, and this is really interesting because anytime that we've seen an MP Plus line, it's generally meant that we were getting a tune accurate version of some of these characters. Now what's interesting to me is that this is going to be a line I think that's going to be dedicated to the Seekers, and I think for an awful lot of people that don't like the numbering of the Seekers going in the line, say 53, 54, 55, etc., I think that is probably a good idea. So what I think we're going to see here is we're going to see MP52 plus Thundercracker. I think we'll see MP52 plus Skywarp. I think it's possible that we might see some of the cone heads. So I think what's interesting about this is part of the Seeker line. So Starscream is the base mold for the Seekers, and then you have Skywarp and Thundercracker that are quite prolific with the Seekers. There are also the Rainmakers, and I suppose if they did some heavy engineering and heavy retooling, they could probably get the cone heads out of this mold as well, I would say. Now what I'm going to look at in this video is, do I think that this is worth it? Well, I think if you've already pre-ordered Starscream, I certainly think when you're looking at the price of this and comparing it between Starscream and Thundercracker, it certainly seems that you're getting an awful lot more for Starscream than you are for Thundercracker. $241.99 before tax for Americans, and again, if you're in Ireland, this is a very difficult item to achieve and to get. And if you're internationally, it is going to be much more difficult to get now with all of the different VAT and customs rules that are going on in the last couple of months. So this is going to blow this into a proportion then of possibly nearly €300 plus. And for anybody that's in the UK, it's possibly going to be in and around the same for them. So I think that that's going to be a problem with this one. When you see the amount of accessories that's with it, it doesn't seem quite worth what you're going to get. And I think for an awful lot of people now collecting the MP line, they've looked at what's happened in Kingdom and in Earthrise and in Siege, and they've said to themselves, this stuff is nearly as good, if not better, than the MPs. So why would I collect the MPs? You do have another group of fans that say, well, we don't want ultimate tune accuracy. I'm personally on the side of, well, if I can get it as close to the cartoon as possible, I am happy. You've got another set of fans then that want to see something that's really realistic. That's something that I'm not really interested in, because we do have the movies for that. So for me, I just want to see the G1 characters with a very solid masterpiece. Ultimately, what do I think about this one? Well, MP52 plus Thundercracker, I think it's going to be the start of a new line within this line, so it's another little sub-line. I've always said myself that I think that Skywarp wears the colours on this mould very, very well, but I do have to say, and I do admit, that I do really like the look of Thundercracker in this. So we're going to have a quick scroll through here now and look at Thundercracker himself. So as you can see here, he comes with a very nice head sculpt, and then he comes down with his cannons, so his null rays. There's a nice blast effect that is attaching to it. Now I know an awful lot of people recently have been talking about these blast effects. Will these hold out over time? I suppose that's going to have to be a wait and see type of idea. I think the paint that's used on him looks really nice. I know an awful lot of people already are saying that the grey that's used here just seems a little bit off, that he should be a little bit more white, or maybe he should be a little bit more grey. I suppose it depends on your eye and what you think of that anyway yourself. So we're just going to have a look at the jet mode now. I think the jet mode looks really nice, and I think that is one of the selling points particularly for this figure. I think the jet mode looks really, really nice from the top. Now we will say this, I do think that the Earthrise version of this mode got it right in terms of the jet. I think the jet looks absolutely wonderful. I actually think that that's the better form of the characters, particularly in the Earthrise line. I think the jet mode looks an awful lot nicer. Whereas here now, I think that the robot mode does look a lot nicer than it does in Earthrise, and it does have a good bit of posability with it as well, in my opinion. So we're going to have a look now a little bit more of the head sculpt of this character, a little bit more up close, and I think it does really good idea of what Thundercracker looks like. This is a very blank looking stare. I think an awful lot of people probably won't display him like this. Thundercracker was one of the characters, I suppose, within G1 that he could be grumpy sometimes, and other times he was fairly jovial. In IDW they gave him a dog and they made him seem like he was a pretty nice guy. So one of those characters that I think this is a good differentiation if you're going to change him up from Starscream, because with the puffed lips here as well, I think really does set him off from the rest. There's nice articulation on this figure as well. You can see from this here, he has an ability to basically get into a pose that's quite extensive for a masterpiece particularly, and I like the screaming kind of laughing smirking head that he has here. As we'll see, we also have then boosters that are coming along so that you can have him maybe in a flight pose. It looks nice. I think the screaming head that's there looks nice as well too, but I think overall I think the booster accessories are probably, someone would be more interested in that for a real world kind of perspective rather than anything else. I do have to say overall that is literally it when it comes to accessories. You've got 3 alternate face plates. You have what seems to be some sort of item or key, maybe perhaps for underneath the Jerwalk mode. As we can see here, Jerwalk mode, for anybody that doesn't know, is a mode that's kind of in between robot and in between jet, where they have the legs sticking out. It's quite strange, but I suppose it's possibly a Macross sort of, I would say, homage in a way. So he also comes with this piece here that is able to plug into his stand and then plug into him. And then he comes with his 2 null res, and then he comes with his blasters and then these blast effects. So that is literally it. That you're getting 3 face plates, a holder basically. You've got a couple of blast accessories, maybe even just the one, because it doesn't seem like they're going to be packing in a lot with this one. You've got the opening canopy, you've got this part here as well. So what do I think about this? Well, I think for the mold that you're getting, I think it's a very nice mold. I really do think that. And I have to say, I had no qualms with the Starscream one, because Starscream does come with an awful lot of stuff. But I will say at $241.99, this is a large price to pay for this character, I think personally. And I personally think that this should have been a lot cheaper. I actually think that this should have been under the $200 mark. You're seeing characters, for example, like Tigatron, that is in and around this mark as well too. I don't think that that's worth that. I also didn't think that Dinobot was really worth that, nor did I think Megatron was worth that, especially when you look at an awful lot of the QC issues that have been happening on some of the figures of late. I still don't have a Masterpiece Hound because of the disastrous QC that was reported on that figure. Some of the QC that's been on some of the later Beast Wars figures have been something to be a bit concerned about too, like Dinobot for example. Tigatron seems to be okay at the moment. I haven't personally opened mine at the moment, but from the feedback that I've seen, he seems like he's alright. So with MPs now, the way I'm looking at it is, I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to wait and see how Starscream turns out. It's inevitable that this Seeker mold is going to have a problem somewhere, because that seems to be the way that things have happened over the last couple of years with Hasbro and Takara Tomy. There doesn't seem to be a fixable issue with any of these things. For example, when Hound was coming out and there was an awful lot of problems with him, they didn't seem to say, right, okay, in 6 months time we're going to roll out a better version of it, or we apologize for that, we are going to fix that, or we can give you the parts that are required to update that and have it not be an issue. There was just nothing said. And when you see that Amazon Japan, for example, found it very difficult, from what I understand, to even have another listing of a Masterpiece figure again after the amount of, I suppose, rejects and bad QC ridden hounds that they got sent back their way. It seemed like Amazon got an awful lot of negative reviews, and they just said, right, we're not going to carry this anymore. Have they gotten a promise from Takara Tomy and Hasbro to say, look, the materials will be better? We do understand that Hound allegedly had different materials than any other MP. Seems like a strange thing to do, but Hasbro and Takara Tomy did say that. So maybe will they right their wrong and say, look, Starscream is going to be better quality, and it could end up being one of the better MPs that you're going to get. It's a very basic transformation for what it looks like. The characters are fairly easy. If you have one home run in Starscream, it means then that you're going to have a really good one then in Thundercracker and a really good one in Skywarp, and then whatever sort of repaints you get from there. I think this is a good idea, adding this to the MP52 Plus line. I think that's fantastic. It really does help to keep the numbers down on the MPs that have happened. But like I said, I think an awful lot of people are going to have a very big difficulty with double and treble dipping now on a Seeker Masterpiece. I think an awful lot of people probably would have liked to see somebody else. We still don't have Rodimus Prime in a Masterpiece form. That's not one from early. That wasn't really good. It wasn't a good mold. We still don't have an MP Galvatron. We still don't have an MP of some of the Beast Wars characters that we should have by now. Like, I feel that we should have Tarantulas by now at the very least. But if reasons are to be believed, in some of the leaks that have come out recently, there are supposed to be maybe 6 MPs this year. So this would be, in my opinion, one of them. It would be interesting to see what the other 5 are. I would say that maybe it's going to be 1 Beast Wars character, 2 movie characters, perhaps from the Bumblebee movie or maybe from the Michael Bay movies. And then I suppose then the other two then, or one or two, are up for grabs then to who they'll be. I think the time is right now to do the likes of Rodimus Prime and Galvatron. Although there's one part of me that says maybe wait it out and see if they get better with the QC. Because here's the thing. A lot of people are looking at this right now and they're saying $241.99 for a masterpiece of Thundercracker. Well, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I bought them for $30 or €30 or £30. And I've got a very steady version of it that looks really good. Now, here's the other thing that crops up with that. That was a Target exclusive. So, Target exclusive of Thundercracker and Skywarp. So that was a difficult one for an awful lot of people to track down. And from what I've heard as well with the cone heads, even my own experience, it's been very difficult to track down. So you're nearly paying this money anyway to have a set of cone heads. So I think an awful lot of people will probably say, well, it's worth it to get this. It's easy to pre-order. There's no issue with it. Pre-order's done and happy days. You don't have to go out trying to get the likes of the cone heads. You don't have to go out and try and get the likes of Skywarp and Thundercracker in the Siege line and in the Earth Rise line, because that was a pain to put two fairly mainline characters into exclusives. It's a very strange decision. I will say one thing though, I am very happy to see Hasbro Pulse having this up on their site. I think for an awful long time they did forget about MPs and didn't want to seem to promote them, but I think that this is a very nice thing to see, that Americans can purchase this from here. Now, one thing I'm going to say, obviously, and it does sound like I'm actually having an issue with this, which I am, there's no Hasbro Pulse for Europe. And as much as it pains me to say that being in Ireland, I don't feel like, Europe and all of that. But there's nothing there to say, well, here's an easy alternative for you to purchase from. Now with everything that's going on with the UK, particularly splitting from the likes of where they've gone from, there's an incredible amount of increase in terms of import duty and customs and stuff like that. So that again then pushes me back and saying, I don't know, I'm not really interested now. I'm trying to go through the hassle of pushing it from the UK. This is the opportune moment for Hasbro to set up a European stall and say, look, this is one hub that we can serve all of Europe with. And I think that they would make an awful lot of money with this. This is the prime time, excuse the pun, to be doing this. Especially with characters like this, because people want them. People want to see the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. People want to see the G.I. Joe Classified series, particularly in Europe. So this is stuff, and this is a purchase that would be made by people like myself that would say, do you know what, I'm after getting MP Megatron. I'm seriously considering the MP Starscream. I'm obviously already after getting MP Shockwave. And then for anyone that comes in after that, then it would be a lovely display, particularly with tune accuracy. But you have to give me the option to be able to get this. That is the most important thing. And you have to get the fans to be able to get this. If you're making it a hassle for them, I think an awful lot of people are seeing that price tag and saying to themselves, right, no interest. I'm going to go for the $30 version or the $40 version or €30 version, €40 version. Because that is the way people are going to have to go. And it's unfortunate. Overall, I think that this looks like a nice release. I think Thundercracker was always one that an awful lot of people thought, look, this is going to be no time before they announce a recolor of the Starscream mold. It's curious that they have this up already and Starscream isn't officially out yet. I think that is quite odd to be announcing a repaint before the actual original version of the figure, if you will, has come out. I think that's unusual. But then again, sometimes the companies don't really make sense. I wouldn't be too surprised now in the next week or two if we don't see an MP52 Pro Skywarp. It wouldn't shock me whatsoever. Anyway, I'm going to leave the video there. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you share the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell up above. And check out the links posted below. Talk to you later. Good luck.